Hi, Alan Stratton from As Wood Turns. In this video, I cut my thumb on my table saw. Where's the blood and gore? I gotta tell you a little bit more background to this story. A few years ago, my wife and I went to a segmented woodturner symposium. One of the presenters was Malcolm Tibbetts, who is kind of well known in the segmented world. In his presentation, he made the point that when you cut yourself on your table saw, not at that point, but not at all if, it's when you cut yourself. So his recommendation was that before you cut yourself on your table saw, that you purchase a SawStop version of the table saw, which is supposed to stop immediately if it detects contact. Well, that's what happened here, because my wife came home and said, "Hey, I'm going to buy a table saw and you can use it." So we did. I have been using it religiously ever since. But in this case, I sawed a bunch of segments. I turned off the SawStop, turned around to get something off of the shelf behind here, turned back. The saw was coasting to a stop, but I reached for segments and I touched the blade. Well, thunk, it triggered because it wasn't quite stopped yet. The main additional component to a SawStop is this cartridge in here with a lot of detection circuitry. When it fires, it blows this piece of aluminum here on the front into the saw blade, stopping it almost instantaneously. Well, it stopped, but it's been 2 days, so it's healed. So I wasn't badly hurt. So the SawStop has paid off, but it did cost me a new cartridge, $95, and a new saw blade, another $50. So in this video I'm going to show you what I did about that, because I think I need just a little bit more protection. Yeah, it got me, but now another $150. So I designed a guard to go on my segmented sled. I had never seen one in all the videos that I've watched about wedgie sleds, including from the creator of it, Jerry Bennett. So I didn't make one. I thought I was safe, especially with a SawStop. Well, yes, here's one. I'll show you how I did it. It in use now. I put it over here, a couple of magnets, secure it to the side. Now I have a harder time hitting that saw blade with my thumb. So I can saw a wall, I can that'll remind me not to do it. Once it's stopped, I can reach behind and get my segments. So I'm going to show you how I made this guard in this video.
Well, my first problem was to fix my saw. When a SawStop triggers, it acts like an auto airbag. It shoots a bar of aluminum against the saw blade. When this happens at full speed, the saw teeth can become well embedded in the soft aluminum. In my case, I had already turned off the saw. It was coasting to a stop when I touched the blade with my thumb. So for me, only a slight thump since the blade was already coasting. Still, it saved my thumb. The problem then becomes one to remove the spent cartridge and the blade from the saw with a lot of prying and manipulation in a very small enclosed space. For me, the cartridge and blade separated once removed from the saw. About $95 for a cartridge and $50 for a blade. However, I still have my thumb without a trip to the emergency room and months of healing. Although the cows have already left the barn, I decided to make a shield or a guard. After all, I do intend to create more segmented pieces. I had never seen a guard or shield for a wedgie sled, even from Jerry Bennett, the original creator. Afterwards, I found one from Lloyd Johnson, but do not like it. It seems awkward. If a guard is awkward, I tend not to use it. Now the challenge is how to create a shield that is flexible, not in the way when I do not want it, and very much in the way when I am not paying attention. I decided to base my guard on two MagJig 60s. A MagJig is a magnet that, with the turn of a handle, will release. A 60-pound grip seems to be strong enough as a pair to hold the guard. I fired up SketchUp and first drew the throat plate and the blade. One challenge is the wide throat plate. The MagJig will only stick to iron. My zero clearance throat plate is wood. Next, it looks like a 4x8 piece of acrylic will be adequate protection, but how to support it? A MagJig 60 is designed for a 3/4 inch base and a 1-inch hole. Then 2 small number 6 holes on each side anchor the MagJig to the base. Then I added a back portion to hold an upright. By the way, I am not showing all the iterations of my design. I also designed a knob for the vertical adjustment in OpenSCAD, but my bolt supplier did not carry number 10 hex bolts, so a washer would have done as well. Then drew an arm to support the plastic and an adjustable upright to set the height of the guard. I have learned how to embed steel nuts in a 3D print. Steel beats plastic for strength. It is also much easier to design for a nut than for threads. After exporting the STL files and slicing them to prepare for printing, I printed all but the jig and the acrylic on my Prusa MK3S Plus printer. I also then made a trip to the bolt supplier for my hardware. A couple of iterations, and I think it will work. For a little more protection and stability, I bent the ends of the acrylic by clamping the plastic with scrap wood on both sides of the bend point. Heated it with a heat gun. It bent very easily. I think a hairdryer could also work. Using the MagJigs enabled this to be positioned anywhere there is iron to stick to. The large throat plate was a challenge. I think this will be convenient enough that I will use it as part of my segmenting kit. I am now double protected, my shield and my SawStop. I hope that is enough. At least it will save me having to replace my SawStop cartridge and my saw blade. Let's check it out in use for 12 segments. Things are going well. When all are cut, I wait for the saw to stop completely and clear out the good segments.
So, yeah, you've seen now how I made mine, but I know there are a lot of smart people out there that would love to design a better guard than what I have here. So let me know what yours looks like and how you should, because I'm confident that you're probably not guarding your blade now when you're using your wedgie sled. The guard you should be using when you're sawing your segments. So keep turning, but don't cut yourself.